Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at this new Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Sunspot. And I just got to say, this is the figure that those of us who were huge New Mutant fans back in the 80s have been waiting on for Marvel Legends for a very, very long time. Now, I'll get into more on that here in just a minute. I do want to kind of just go over the basics here real quick. So you get the figure here just like it is. You do get an extra fire effect that actually fits into either of these hands here if you want to kind of weave that into the fingers. And then of course you get the fire effect that is on this arm right here. That just pops in right over his fist. The figure itself is, you know, nothing crazy, pretty plain, pretty simple, but that's what it should be for a New Mutants figure. They had very, very simple basic outfits, no big X or anything like that, just the X right there. Very, very simple black and yellow design, and this just absolutely looks phenomenal for an X-Men New Mutants costume. It's perfectly, beautifully done, really well, simple, and it works. It works. There's not a lot of crazy sculpting on the uniforms. For those of us who were big fans of the New Mutants run, especially the early stuff, when they all just wore the same costume, and there was nothing crazy about it because they were a class, all right? They were a team, but they were a class. They all wore the same uniforms. They didn't have their own flair necessarily, except for a couple of characters. And it was just a good, solid, basic uniform, whether it was Sunspot, whether it was Cypher, whether it was Cannonball, whatever. They all wore the exact same, and it looked exactly like this, which I'm very, very happy about, because unlike a lot, in my opinion, of the X-Men 97 figures that have come out, this can actually stand in as a comic book representation of the character. Some of them can, some of them can't. This is definitely one of the ones that can just insert right into your collection as a comic book version of Sunspot in his New Mutants outfit. Now, as far as the articulation goes, there's nothing crazy here. It's all standard stuff. The biggest thing here is going to be the torso joint. So you've got that reverse ab crunch with the dumbbell joint there at the top, which gives you pretty good articulation. Nothing crazy, but good, solid articulation. Head sculpt looks really good. It is a little bit more on the animated style, but I think it is perfectly acceptable as a comic book stand-in head for the character. So now I want to get to why I think this is the figure that New Mutants fans have been waiting on. All right, so we got a few other figures here just to kind of make my point about why this is a figure I'm very excited about as a New Mutants fan. So first we'll take a look at Dani Moonstar here. Now this is a really good figure. I like this Dani Moonstar figure a lot, and finally getting her was, you know, well worth it when she came out, and the fact that she came with different heads where she could be Magic or she could be Wolfsbane worked really, really well. But they were trying to go for a New Mutants look here, and this is not the New Mutants uniform. Like, it's just not. You know, yes, the colors are good, black and yellow, but the New Mutants uniform didn't have the big X on the chest. It just didn't. It looked like this one right here. So while this was a good attempt, and it is a good figure, this is not accurate to the original team for New Mutants. Then we got Sunspot over here. Now this is a more adult Sunspot. This figure's been around for a while. It's a great figure. I love it. Sits in my X-Force display. But obviously you're going for a more, you know, like 15-year-old version of Sunspot. The body sculpt on this one looks much, much better. And honestly, even if you were doing more of an adult version, this just looks more realistic as far as, you know, just an overall buck than that one does there. And then of course we've got my custom Cannonball there at the back, but we're talking about as a New Mutants figure, what can we get out of something like this? And that's where things like head swaps absolutely come in. Let's pop some heads here and do some swapping and show you guys what I'm talking about, because there's just some cool options here that you can do. One is if you wanted a more powered up version of Roberto, you could just do a simple head swap like that, and it looks great. He didn't necessarily have the mask when he was in this costume, but still looks good there. So let's go ahead and pull that one off. And we'll take this one right here. I'm gonna pop that off and pop it on here like that. And we have a young Sam Guthrie Cannonball figure just like that. And that just in and of itself shows you you've got some options here. But there's one more that I want to show you. And that is this right here. Now, I don't have a proper head sculpt for this figure right here as far as if I was going to do what I'm trying to do here, but if you had a good younger looking blonde-headed head sculpt, you take the blue Marvel jacket like this, you paint it up in the right shade of yellow, and essentially with a blonde head sculpt you would have a New Mutants Cypher figure. Now you might want to do something different with a robotic arm or something like that to switch it up and make it look more like certain versions of Cypher, but the point is there's a lot you could do with this figure. This figure is widely available. I've not seen it sold out anywhere, at least not yet. It works for a lot of the male members. I would say all the male members of the New Mutants team. You could tweak it, do some head swaps, add a jacket, do a couple of things here and there, and you've basically got Sunspot, you've got Cypher, you've got Cannonball, and you can start to build up that New Mutants team that a lot of us have been wanting for a really long time. I mean, in the end, I think this is a great figure. I like this one, at least for its potential, and just the figure itself. It's nice to have a New Mutants version of Sunspot. I like it more than the Cable figure that I got from the X-Men 97 wave, which I thought was decent, but not great. This one, on the other hand, and again, being very biased here because I am a New Mutants fan, this one just suits me perfectly, and I think if you're like me and you have been wanting to put together a good classic New Mutants team, this is a fantastic figure. It's $25 going rate right now on Amazon and pretty much everywhere else, which is, you know, what you're gonna pay for any 6-inch scale, 7-inch scale figures nowadays. Is it worth it? I mean, for what you're getting, I would say yeah, in general, because it's the same price as any other figure. Realistically, is any 6-inch scale figure worth $25 nowadays? Probably not, but especially with something like this, you don't get a whole lot of accessories, but just in general, yeah, I think it's worth it. I'm happy to have it. I'm glad I added it to my collection, and you know, I think in general, I think you probably will be too. So that is it, guys. I appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think, and always remember to enjoy your collection.